To me, it's just hatred towards this young lady. Only thing she's doing, like you said, is out here. She's playing the game of basketball, and she's having fun doing it.
I love her game. A lot like Steph. She reminds me of Steph Curry a lot. You know?
Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time for doing that.
I find this young person to be hateful. Lady's only behavior is similar to yours. Stated that she is playing the game out here of basketball and she's enjoying herself while playing. I adore her game, just like Steph. It reminds me a lot of Steph Curry, you know? Anyone who engages in egregious behavior too. This young woman, for her contributions, should be banned from the game and F. Caitlyn Clark, you deserve a huge reward for that. Has swept the basketball world off its feet. Her astounding abilities and unafraid play has enthralled spectators, critics, and no WNBA player before her, according to legends, has inspired such broad acclaim and discussion between NBA legends, the very athletes who have established the benchmark for excellence in the sport. The reality that they are now considering Caitlyn's impact says a lot about her. Importance of her in the sport now. Performances that broke records for her. Exceptional abilities on the court. Caitlyn Clark is motivating and transforming the game. The WNBA stars of the future. But her spectacular rise is not being celebrated by everyone. Rise that has been questioned, criticized, and even attempted to defeat her. But two legends are sick and tired of the Larry Bird and Michael Jordan's negativity, have made the decision to speak up, and their words will surely change the storyline. Pay attention to what basketball legends have to say about one of Caitlyn Clark's amazing journeys. Allen was one of the biggest stars of his day. Iverson was a huge celebrity who radically altered the terrain of the league.
Man, shoot the blood out of the ball. You know what I mean? I never seen anything like it. You know what I mean? And then just how aggressive she is, you know, and not just scoring in basketball, getting her teammates involved as well. I think she's so great for the game. You know what I mean? It was a pleasure watching her, and I just think down the road, she's going to only get better.
Is currently doing. Both of them were well-liked even in their completed college and entered the professional leagues under extreme strain on their shoulders. They fulfilled the large expectations and altered the course of decent, but they might not have been the best players who are physically intimidating, such as most greatest possibilities in history, yet they might use their elite to enforce their will. Allen Iverson's abilities made him the number. Many children grew up idolizing him. The league was astonished by the lethal crossover. Years passed until the NBA finally caught up to his method of gripping balls with his face up. Work that drew inspiration from hooping in the streets that a lot of young females admire. In the same manner, Caitlyn Clark now, to become more like her, try to imitate her moves. Allen Iverson also recognizes this talent. Given in a brief interview, what is things about Caitlyn Clark that highlight her? A league game changer. He took the chance to showcase her unique collection of abilities and perspective on the game of basketball.
And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. And now, when I watch her, two things I like. She's playing much faster, much faster. She was playing too slow the first half of the season.
From the college season.
They didn't even give her the understanding, like, you girls been ready for the WNBA season. Y'all been working out on the no-stress. She came straight out of college.
Not surprisingly, Allen Iverson's. When it comes to how to provide praise, priorities, he is quick to give Caitlyn Clark the recognition she merits as a remarkable offensive motor, as it's also how, when he was at his best, they were both provided with the majority of taking accountability for their respective teams as soon as they entered the league with the violence that, according to Allen Iverson, there is something that is necessary for that position, the quality that permits an aggravating initiator to be. Their elite is an all-time best. The capacity for playmaking is something that Caitlyn Clark is naturally good at, despite having the least amount of experience player on her squad, such as players raise the floor because they better for everyone around them by their seriousness and selflessness. Iverson managed to lead a group of poor offensive talent entering the NBA Finals from his exceptional capacity to let's see what Caitlyn can accomplish in her prime, Allen. According to Iverson, she will only keep improving in the future, therefore she will undoubtedly learn how to raise her even higher floor for the squad. Hopefully the Indiana Fever is a means of creating the ideal fragments of Caitlyn's role players, Clark, so that she can enter the larger phases that Iverson managed to reach. Since Iverson was an amazing supporters' favorite crowd pleaser, and how frequently he was capable of producing astounding highlights on the court, which is an additional his resemblance to Caitlyn Clark. The cost is always justified by these players of admittance and continuously put oneself in the spotlight, but for Iverson, that had numerous drawbacks. Nevertheless, media coverage also. Caitlyn Clark seems like a very media person. Smart for her age, she has maintained a sophisticated and calm poise throughout each interview. So far, she has consistently stated the correct things. He manages to stay out of a lot of. This is a contentious issue that's attracted the attention of another NBA legend, Charles Barkley. This was obvious, given that he is currently better renowned for his knowledge of the media that he has been covering the NBA via the media for over two. He's learned a few things throughout the decades regarding choosing the appropriate words to use in interviews and news conferences. In addition, he was an NBA player for many years. All-star has meant that he can learn this from NBA players' viewpoint. He's experienced his share of media disputes during his NBA career, but he has undoubtedly discovered how to refine his on-screen persona at this time and has established himself as a cherished personality by both networks and fans. I am impressed with Caitlyn Clark's ability to. It's hard to do this already. An athlete's balancing act, yet she has managed it quite effectively.
Why do you think people love Caitlyn Clark besides her skills?
She can shoot threes from logo.
We never seen that before. That's my point. Steph Curry, a little kid. Like Steph Curry, I love. You know why I love Steph Curry? Because I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. I've seen it a little bit in Mahmoud Abdul-Roh, but I've never seen a guy consistently come down. And if you look at, like, if you saw Steph on the street, he ain't got the LeBron muscles. He's not 6'9", he's 6'10". He look like a perfect, normally office guy.
Yeah.
He's doing stuff that people never seen before. She's doing stuff we've never seen before. Never seen nobody do that on a consistent basis.
Caitlyn Clark is successful in all features of the game, both internal and external, because of her extraordinary disposition towards. She was under a lot of pressure at work from fans, franchises, and went above and above. She took the hits from her expectations, rivals, and demonstrated her resilience. More remarkable than them, she has remained better during the season. She has rapidly discovered how to surpass her WNBA peers, which is no simple process considering the important distinctions between collegiate basketball. In the WNBA's professional league, the WNBA's physical demands are taxing on a player's physique in ways that supporters frequently unable to see or even comprehend. This is particularly true for Caitlyn Clark, since the additional physicality that contradicts teams showed her the sole path to endure this. One must be diligent. Physical readiness that enables her to endure the blows for the duration of the WNBA. This part of her game this season has been a welcome surprise for followers, as she was regarded as a tremendous talent at first, lacking remarkable physical characteristics. Dominance can take many different forms, and Shaquille O'Neal is frequently described to as regarded as the most powerful basketball Shaq and the person who has ever played the game. He claims that there is no need for discussion on. Additionally, he stated that Steph Curry is his favorite player right now in the NBA, in spite of the significant disparity in their physical characteristics and play style. They acknowledge each other's excellence. Shaw has similar feelings towards Caitlyn Clark. He has lauded Caitlyn's excellence on the podcast of Angel Reese unapologetically. Even though Caitlyn is Angel's greatest adversary, he mentioned Caitlyn's domination in spite of her size, contrasting it with Steph Curry's as per. Caitlyn and Steph both ushered Shaq in a brand new display to their audiences in their respective leagues. Have never seen this before, I think, is what makes a league successful and why.
Caitlyn is the most popular WNBA player, but she's not the best at this time. Just like Larry and I were not the best when we entered the league. We became the best later on by our play. Caitlyn still has to play great to become the best WNBA player.
Lots of fascinating. Shaq's conversation yielded some insights. The first was the recognition that there is nothing that Caitlyn Clark cannot do. WNBA players, including Angel, have done. Reese acknowledges this herself, but Angel's answer appeared to minimize. Because of Caitlyn's skills, she could make three-pointers from the logo, but that is indeed an incredible accomplishment and it's an incredible show for the fans. Also a talent that required a great deal of effort to get that shot down, so it has to be recognized as a talent as well, and Shaq is aware of that the capacity to do so has been attracting new WNBA spectators to the venues. Additionally, it's somewhat disparaging of Angel Reese. Someone has publicly stated her opinion that it's not just Caitlyn Clark who pulls. Angel's gaming audiences must have been concealing a great deal of jealousy since Shaq's remarks because she lacks the capacity for long-range shooting. Effectively, it's evident that Shaq considers Caitlyn Clark to be carrying the WNBA's popularity. Michael Jordan has finally spoken out about. He and Caitlyn Clark didn't hold back. Caitlyn is owed a lot by the WNBA for. MJ stated what she had done for the game. Jordan went one step farther and requested a total redesign of officiating, highlighting how the referees have been obviously. Caitlyn is treated unfairly, and it's time the league takes charge and puts things right. Words have a strong resonance, thus the WNBA must not just recognize the influence of Caitlyn, but also make certain that she is respected. She merits praise from her peers as well as, according to the court officials, it's not Daly, that is the best of all time, intervenes on behalf of a player and Jordan's. It is evident from the remarks that Caitlyn is one of Game Changer's contributions. The rivalry can no longer be disregarded between Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese has contributed to this recent surge in the WNBA. Has a dynamic that is similar to the NBA's early decades. The NBA had very few spectators in the 1970s. Warrant live broadcast games from a distance. Scream from the vast media sector that it. What altered today was the entrance of two prospects for transcendence who were billed as Magic Johnson's fierce rivals, Larry Bird, and they competed in the NCAA, breaking viewership at the tournament finals, records, and generating fresh curiosity about the sport in the same way as women's basketball. The NCAA tournament had the most viewers ever, causing a crisis in the media and a new women's basketball frenzy fueled by conflict between Caitlyn Clark and, as the two joined the league, Angel Reese. Meanwhile, the WNBA went through a comparable spike in new viewers that is reminiscent following the expansion of the NBA during the 1980s. In this topic that people have been discussing, Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese as the Magic, the WNBA's Larry Bird and Johnson. Comparison is already so common that Magic Johnson himself has added his voice. Naturally, he concurs with the. In contrast, he recognizes the potential. Caitlyn Clark's ascent to the top participant in the league.
And a few of the things that I learned coming from one rookie of the year to another, even though mine was 19 years ago, one of the biggest things after winning Rookie of the Year, because that's a big deal, first of all. That's a huge achievement and you should be proud. But going forward, I think the biggest thing I tried to focus on was getting stronger. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to get faster. I wanted to be better on defense. But more than anything, I tell you, the biggest people that I leaned on was my family, my support system.
Magic Johnson has been a strong advocate for. He has been the owner of the WNBA for some time. It appears that the Los Angeles Sparks. He has often thought that the WNBA will find a way to get popularity and a prosperous company one day, similar to the NBA these days. His forecast is appearing nice. He discussed the emergence of the WNBA's level of popularity with regard to Caitlyn's rivalry and spectacle. He has drawn comparisons between Clark and Angel Reese. This is what he told him, and Larry Bird stated that it is now possible to hope that the WNBA will experience the same beneficial improvements that the NBA's financial experience, beginning to unite, and we are already observing the advantages of the shift. In the game was also a significant element that Bird and Magic brought the NBA. Caitlyn Clark is currently on a tremendously higher level of proficiency than most WNBA players. Her talent is probably going to on other players' training regimens and how teams create their styles of play. When Magic Johnson made his NBA debut by transformed offenses with his amazing skill and basketball savvy, rapidly becoming known as a legacy of the league's top point guard that remains intact to this day. Caitlyn Clark could affect the WNBA in a comparable way. When they say point guard, there's only one name, Chris Paul, that surpasses all others. He is regarded as the perfect example of dissecting a typical point guard defenses with his ability to score goals and sophisticated playmaking abilities. This is just like Caitlyn Clark is today. Breaking down WNBA defenses, there was a time of torch passing when thinking back on Caitlyn Clark's, comparing it to the Rookie of the Year campaign, to his own numerous years earlier. They've moreover created a sense of unity through their mutual support for State Farm. The Chris Paul was even asked by the organization to send a message wishing Caitlyn luck on Rookie of the Year.
What you did this past season was crazy. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in WNBA history. 3-time Eastern Conference Player of the Week. 4-time WNBA Rookie of the Month. I could go on and on. So shout out to you, Caitlyn. It's been amazing to watch you hoop day in and day out. Not just to see the behind the back going left threes from deep, but more so just to see the passion and the joy that you play with and to see the way that you make your teammates better. So I just want to say congratulations.
There is that worry once more with Caitlyn's exercise regimen, something every basketball player is aware of. It's good that Chris Paul provided suggestions regarding the emotional and mental toll a young basketball prodigy defeats an athlete, and you can tell that Caitlyn Clark is someone Chris Paul genuinely admires and want her professional success. He continues to say more in the end to commemorate her honor.
I know a lot of people have been hating on Caitlyn. This is what happens to a rookie. Yeah. This is what happens to a rookie. This is what happens to the marquee player.
Paul Chris cites a number of noteworthy accomplishments in the Rookie of the Year category for Clark campaign. There are numerous things she must be pleased that he even yelled. Particular actions Caitlyn takes on the Chris Paul seems to be in court. Sincerely, I'm a huge fan of Clark. It would be hard to avoid Caitlyn's continuous barrage of outstanding honors and her rookie year highlights. By herself, she is pursuing the path of the most well-liked basketball players who entered the league in a significant. How many people would say Jordan and LeBron were the most promising individuals who altered the game entirely? But there is a well-known name that people have been overlooking. Julius Irving, or Dr. J, was most likely the most well-liked basketball player to never join a new league. This is due to, prior to playing in the ABA, he was the league's face as soon as he entered the NBA as a celebrity. At that time, his status was unparalleled. Moreover, his opinion on Caitlyn Clark said this occurred while she was excluded from the basketball competition for women. He reassures her and her Olympic team fans that there is some good in this scenario. He stated, "I believe that she's most likely going to be included in the upcoming 3 Olympic teams, along with 3 lots since there is a danger involved with taking part in this specific Olympic team, so take things a little more slowly. However, she is doing advertisements, items that are having an impact on the game, and she has been amazing. She will have an even bigger impact whether she is permitted to allow events to occur. Dr. J knows when it's intended to occur, because playing basketball takes a lot of time and can take a variety of paths. His career was something as that. Thus, his recommendation to Caitlyn is to unwind a little, which she has already done so much in her first year alone, and she'll undoubtedly have the chance to perform even. He also hinted at additional things in the future, that Caitlyn has additional options. Clark's activities outside of the WNBA, including more difficult to do outside of merely Julius Irving of basketball and personified. Additionally, he developed into an all-around, renowned and influential figure throughout his playing days. Celebrity culture is frequently Vince, that comes with being a great player. Carter is yet another outstanding illustration from the he created a new basketball in the modern period Toronto culture at the time of his draft by Raptors in the 90s such as Dr. J and Vince Carter. Caitlyn Clark was the human, which was a huge favorite. His highlights were shown in the highlight reel everywhere as he was playing, establishing him as the marquee performer at his peak, who now calls Caitlyn the WNBA's marquee player as well. Explains why there is so much hatred and suffering that is being inflicted upon me.
You got to earn your stripes. And remember this, I say this all the time. This is not I say this, understanding NIL is what it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But when you go to the professional world and you're in competition against other professionals who are trying to feed their family.
Yeah, mortgage payments.
They'll give you the business.
What?
Every time.
I got to feed my family.
And they not about to let you look good. You're not about to look good.
Well, guess what? I need to make my name. I need to do my thing against you.
The legendary Vince Carter. As the top basketball team in Toronto, marquee player and icon were scattered, with a great deal of difficulty as well. This highlighted genuine difficulties in his playing. Additionally, he recognized every rookie hazing that Caitlyn is experiencing. That's what happens to everyone, Clark. Novice, particularly the most well-liked ones.
I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa, Caitlyn Clark play about the same last year, so I watched a lot of basketball.
The league is now professional, and that is what separates her from everyone else. There are a lot of college playing days. Greater stakes, these bets will just grow larger when the league receives more cover and Caitlyn begins to play in games where everyone is under more strain, be trying to harm her in those circumstances in which she is competing. Facing right now is far more than what she has never witnessed in college. Here are some instances of gamers who have smoothly transitioned from being the best in college to being the best in. Caitlyn is a member of the professional leagues. Among these is Magic Johnson, and we learn about his thoughts on the matter, but Magic exists for a purpose. Johnson did not earn the Rookie of the Year award the year since he also arrived into the professional league using his competitor Larry Bird planned. Among the most renowned franchises, the Boston Celtics turnarounds in. He looked like Caitlyn Clark in the advertisements. An MVP contender right away, he maintained an illustrious career and disrupted the basketball game in each. He was able to win a lot of games that year, MVPs and numerous NBA championships. He is compared for another reason. Frequently with Caitlyn Clark, it's not just the competition and the immediate rookie. Excellence in their games and abilities totally distorted the essence of the sport. The floor was more widely separated than anyone's playmaking in their time, deceived every basic defense against. Furthermore, this is their domination were displaying during their time in college as Larry Bird, however, was born and brought up in French Lick, Indiana, which is the Caitlyn Clark's current playing state. Larry Bird of the Indiana Fever began his early playing career for. He ultimately attended Indiana State University, coaching and taking over as general. Larry Bird, the Indiana Pacers manager. He obviously takes great pride in his house. Declare that he still enjoys playing basketball and, like seeing Caitlyn Clark, he's a admirer who has even seen her in Iowa college athletic events as much as his sweetheart. State of Indiana.